Hello and welcome to this evening's edition of Unleash Hour. Today, my discussion is going to focus on building a war chest. So, when we talk about a war chest, we are referring to how the financial component of your plan should come together. Because every goal, every aspiration, everything you're purposing to do, 90% of it has a financial component involved in. And therefore, today's discussion is going to focus on how do you prepare yourself in a financial sense so that you're able to navigate and get to your goals. So this is the latest in a series I've been doing on preparing to thrive. So today's focus is going to be on building a war chest. In light with that, I go straight towards sharing my screen, and I believe you can see what's on the screen right now. Thank you. So it is important to have a war chest in place because it has a strong impact on the success of your goals, the success of your pursuits. And as we get started, allow me to just make a prayer. Thank you, Lord, for this session of Unleash Hour, where we are discussing what we need to do in preparing ourselves to thrive in 2021 and beyond. I pray, Father, as I share what we have here for today, it will speak into somebody's life, it will speak into somebody's situation, and somebody will be able to make significant steps forward with regard to what we are sharing in this place. Thank you because of this wisdom and this understanding. And thank you because it's going to make a difference in the life of somebody. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. The first thing that we need to ask ourselves is what is a war chest? And as I skimmed through several dictionaries, this is the conclusion that I came to. That a war chest is a fund reserved for a particular purpose. A good example being a political campaign. If you were to apply it to its old meaning, it was a reserve of funds for fighting a war. And if you're to look at it from the perspective of an entrepreneur or a business, it's a cash hoard that a company has with plans to use it for uncertain times or for acquisitions. This is a definition I got from Investopedia. So basically, the idea is that a war chest is a fund set aside to enable you pursue a particular purpose, whether that purpose is fighting a war, whether it's handling uncertain times, whether it's about expanding your business, whatever your goal is, whatever area of your life that you want to work on. A war chest is significant because it enables you get things done. It enables you keep things moving, which is what you want to do as you pursue the quest to thrive. So why do you need a war chest? Why is it important for you to build yourself a war chest, a significant war chest for that matter? And I will draw part of my inspiration from scriptures in the book of Luke, chapter 14, in verse 28. It says that nobody starts building a tower until they have counted the cost, lest the people laugh at them and talk about how they started something that they were not able to finish. So a war chest is significant because it helps you carry out your project successful. So project thriving requires a war chest, and it's important for you to be clear about the figures before you get started. In construction parlance, there's something called a bill of quantities. So a bill of quantities shows the person who's supposed to be doing the construction how much of every material is required. So for you to be able to predict how much you need, a bill of quantities is necessary. And what you need to be asking yourself with regard to this and what we are discussing is, for Project U, for Project Thriving, what makes up your bill of quantities? What are the things that you need to have in place to enable you or to position you where you'll be able to thrive, where you'll be able to make significant progress? So you need to become clear about your bill of quantities. You need to become clear about what needs to be in place in order for you to carry out your project successfully. The other reason why you need a war chest is that war is expensive. War is very expensive. Look at the US military. The biggest portion of the US budget is actually allocated to the military. Their defense budget goes into billions of dollars every year. Why? Because they are preparing themselves for a war that they might never even get to fight. But they invest in their defenses, they invest in offense, they invest in a military presence in every corner of the globe. So war is an expensive affair, and the one who is well prepared gives themselves a chance to win and to overcome. And I want you to understand as well that the pursuit of thriving in your life is war, because you realize that there are many things that would stand in the way of your ability to thrive. And therefore, you will actually be fighting your way through the process. You'll be fighting your way through the challenges. You'll be fighting your way through the obstacles that are placed on your path. And therefore, you want to be in a place where you have secured a war chest big enough to navigate through all those challenges, all those obstacles, and all those things that stand in your way. The other example that we would also look at is the campaigns. In fact, the first time I heard about the word war chest, it was more in relation to a political campaign. And you realize that campaigns are costly, running into hundreds of millions of shillings, millions of dollars, that for you to capture a seat, you're going to spend a lot. You're going to need a significant amount of resources. And therefore, the question that comes to mind is, how are you preparing yourself for your thriving campaign? You have set out with the goal, with the aim to thrive. You want to do well in one area or another in your life. So the question is, how well are you prepared? How deep are your pockets? Because the depth of your pockets can influence how you succeed or fail at whatever it is you have set out to do. So the question is, do you have what it takes to run a successful, thriving campaign? The other thing that also comes up as an analogy is about farmers. Farmers must think about the farm inputs required for the successful planting of a crop. So, for example, if you're thinking about planting maize in the Rift Valley, you think about everything that needs to be put in place, because the land needs to be tilled, furrows need to be made, you need to plant, you need to weed, you need to top dress. So you have to think about all those things. There is the fertilizer that is needed when you're planting, the fertilizer to top dress. Probably at some point you will need to do some pruning and all that. So you must be clear what kind of inputs are required in order for you to be able to thrive. So, and in our case, you need to look at your goals as your crop. Your goals are what make up your crop. So, what is it going to take for the crop that is your goal to come to fruition? What is it going to take before you're able to harvest the results of your goal? So that's why it's important to build a war chest. That without a war chest, without the financial muscle a majority of our goals, a majority of our projects, a majority of the things that we want to pursue will be left in limbo. So it is important that you are in a place where you have built a significant war chest that will take you the entire distance. So here's a couple of facts that you need to think about. Many goals have a financial component. I think I've already said that in many different ways from the beginning of this discussion. So many of our goals have a financial component. You cannot run away from it. You must think about it. Fact number two is you must be clear about what you need from the onset. I've also alluded to that it's important to count the cost. It's important to think about what inputs you need on your farm. It's important to think about how you're going to navigate through all the obstacles and challenges that would stand in your way. Number three, which is also very important, is that you don't need to have it at hand. You don't need to have that money at hand. The most important thing is for you to know how much you need, because as we will look at in our next couple of slides, you realize that there is money out there that you can use to be able to pursue your goals. It's only that you need to understand how to access it and how to put it to good use. So you do not need to have this money at hand, but it's important that you know what you need. Question is, what if I have no war chest? What if I have no war chest? So number one is if you're struggling with financial challenges, then you want to look for backers to stand with you. And backers could be family, they could be friends, they could be colleagues, they could be well-wishers, they could be corporates. So whatever it is you are trying to do, if you do not have your own money, then it challenges you to think about who can come in, who can work alongside you to still make your goal a reality, to still make your dream a reality. And so you can look within the setting of the family. You can search among your friends. You can search among your colleagues. You can find people who are out there willing to help, corporate organizations. So the limits are endless. There are many places where you can find help for what it is you would like to do. So the thing is, you need to find backers whose values align with yours. You need to find backers whose values align with yours. So when you're seeking help, you're better placed if you're able to identify people whose values are similar to yours or are complementary to yours. Because when you align yourself with such people, when you present your ideas to such people, they are more likely to respond. They are more likely to come on board and work together with you to make your dream a reality. If the people you're approaching have values which are at variance with your own, then it's going to be an uphill task for you to be able to convince them to come on board. So when you're looking for partners, when you're looking for sponsors, when you're looking for people to work with you, you will want to identify those who have values that align with your own. How to build a war chest. How to build a war chest. So number one, you need to develop a savings and investment culture. You need to develop a savings stroke investment culture. A majority of us are used to living hand to mouth. Even those of us who have the ability to save up something for the future are caught up in this idea of, there's going to be another salary at the end of the month. There's going to be some more income coming in from this business and that business. And therefore, a savings culture is kind of a foreign concept to many of us. But we need to change that. We need to act differently. We need to do it better than we are doing right now. And there are many, many options that you can consider when it comes to developing a savings and investment culture. So if that's a conversation you would like to have more of, then you can talk to us. You can reach out to us. I'll be sharing our details at the end of this conversation. Just make sure that you get in touch, and we'll be able to help you and give you an idea about how to go about this. But it is important to develop a savings culture. It is important to develop an investment culture. It is important to set something aside regularly because of your future goals, because of your future pursuits, because of your future projects. Because as we have already said, goals have a financial component, and if you don't plan yourself and your finances well, then reaching some of your goals might be an uphill task. Number two, how to build a war chest is build social capital long before you need it. Build social capital long before you need it. Don't be this kind of person who only approaches people when you're in need. Keep relationships well oiled, keep them lively, keep them alive. Any person you connect with, ensure that you are constantly offering them value, you're constantly being a blessing, you're constantly adding value to their lives. That is the way that you go about building social capital. You want to ensure that when people think about you, they think of you in a positive light. They think of you remembering what you've been able to do for them. They think of you remembering how much value you've been able to add into their lives. Because when that happens, the time comes and you need them to come through for you, and they are more than ready. I always like referring to the Godfather, who was an Italian mafia by the name Don Corleone. Don Corleone had this habit of doing favors for people whenever they came to him. If you came to him in need of something and it was in his power to do it for you, he would make sure that he does it, and he does it very well. That inevitably put you in his debt. So whenever time came and he needed you to come through for him, it was actually next to impossible for you to refuse, because when you remember what he's been able to do for you, when you remember all the favor that he has shown you over the years, you realize that the least that you can do is reciprocate. Of course, for him, he would use it as a tool to control people and to have his way. You do not build social capital so that you control and manipulate people, but the concept is the same, that you need to be helpful, you need to be an asset, you need to provide value to the people that are within your network, so that when the time comes and you also need help, they will be able to come through for you without much of a challenge. So the other thing is you must be ready to ask for help. The most successful people are not afraid of asking. They are not afraid of making requests. And let me say that until you learn to ask, it will be very difficult for you to thrive on your projects. Why? Because a lot of what you need is in the hands of other people, and the only way to get it is for you to ask. Asking shows people that they can participate in whatever it is you are doing. Some people are just waiting for you to ask. They are willing to help, they have the ability to help, but they will wait for you to make the request before they move a finger. Why? Because they do not want to indulge in your business without you indulging them. Therefore, make it a habit to ask for help. Make it a habit to request people to join you in the pursuit that you have. That is how you're going to build a significant war chest to enable you win the battle. I love politicians. They know how to ask for help. They know how to look for sponsorship. So they will talk to all the people who matter. They will talk to people with deep pockets to finance their campaigns. So they are not ashamed or afraid of asking for help. And that is what it must be. And for you, because you believe in what you're doing, because you know that what you're doing has a significant value, please become comfortable with asking for help, become comfortable with calling people to join you in the pursuit of that course that you have chosen to take. Next is be open to receiving support in kind. One of the things that impedes people's ability to support you is when you make your support about cash. For example, if I need to pay for a venue and there's somebody who's willing to give me a venue of theirs at no cost, it would be foolhardy for me to insist that they support me by giving me the cash that I need to get a venue. I need to be able to appreciate the help that I am being given in the manner in which it is coming. So if it is coming in kind, if somebody is willing to give me something while not looking at the cash component, hard cash as such, then that is what I should be ready to take up, and that is what I should be able to appreciate and bring it on board. So be open to receiving support in kind. And then finally, adopt a mindset of abundance. Adopt a mindset of abundance. What is a mindset of abundance? A mindset of abundance tells you that there is enough for what you need to get done, that the universe, that the world has enough to help you with your project. So, with a mindset of abundance, you are able to see options. You are able to think through all the places, all the people, all the ways and means through which you can raise up a fund for your war chest. The opposite of a mindset of abundance is a mindset of scarcity, which tells you that there is no money out there, that people are not willing to help. You are limited only to your own pocket, you are limited to your bank account. So adopt a mindset of abundance, and it will be very easy for you to build a war chest sizable enough to make your dreams a reality. When do you need to build a war chest? One is start building a war chest long before you need it. You should not be caught by surprise that you now want to do ABCD and there are no resources to get it done. Get into the habit of building a war chest, get into the habit of setting aside some money consistently for your future plans, for your future projects. So long before you need it, please build your war chest. Number two, make the most of your resources always. It should be a part and parcel of you to set aside resources for the future. It should be part and parcel of you to always make the most of your resources, to always ensure that you are using your resources in a way that will guarantee their availability when you need them the most. So all the time, it's time to build a war chest because you never know when you will need it. You never know when an opportunity will come that will give you an advantage if you have the resources to take advantage of it. So just make sure that you have some money set aside ready for whatever project will come up for you in the future. Who needs a war chest? Who needs a war chest? If you're out there and you have grand ambitions, then a war chest is a no-brainer because grand ambitions require grand funds. Grand ambitions require money requisite to them, and therefore, if you're one of the people who has big dreams concerning the future, if you're one of the people who wants to do a lot in the future, irrespective of which field it is you're in, you will want to build a war chest. because it will make things much, much easier for you going forward. Number two, anyone keen on thriving must build a war chest. So if you want to thrive, if you want to do well for yourself, if you want to live on the edge, if you want to be in the place where you are creating great results with consistency, then you will want to have a war chest in place that will make it a possibility for you. So, and as I come to a close, I just want to call your attention to a few things which you need to do. And number one is determine the size of war chest you need to build based on your ambition. Determine the size of war chest you need to build based on your ambition. So go and do the math. If you've not done the math for what you need in 2021, go sit down and do that math. Be clear about what you need as you pursue your goals, as you pursue your ambitions, as you set yourself to thrive. Be clear about the size of the war chest you need. Number two, start building today. Start small. So do not wait for when you'll be making hundreds of thousands of shillings to be able to start building your war chest. Whatever little you have today, find a place and start setting it aside. There are many, many, many vehicles you can use to start building your war chest. So explore the options, ask questions of the right people, and you will find answers. But whatever it is you are doing, start building today. Do not waste any more time. Right from the moment that you watch this video, start asking yourself, what do I have that I can begin to set aside for purposes of the future and the goals that I have, my ambitions going into the future. Next, start investing in social capital if you have not been doing it. Start building relationships with people. Start engaging people and asking yourself what value you can offer people the way that you are. So your value does not have to be monetary. People are looking for many different things. So ask yourself what strengths you have. What are you good at that you can use to help other people advance on their agendas? And as you do that, you're going to place yourself where the moment you come and you're now seeking the help of people, they too will be able to stand up and be of service to you. So, number one, determine the size of war chest you need. Number two, start building it today. Number three, invest in social capital. So that kind of marks the end of our discussion for today. And like I said, you need help building a war chest. If you need an idea of how you can begin your savings journey, being able to set aside something consistently to enable you plan for your future goals, then I want to encourage you. You can talk to us on 0725 832 477. We can give you good advice for how to go about this. You can also shoot me an email at asenasam, ASENASAM, at gmail.com with the query, how do I get started building my war chest? If you do that, I'm going to get back to you and we are going to have a discussion on how you can begin to do that. Because like I said, there are many options. So it depends on what you're looking for and what you're working towards. I'm sure we'll be able to find something that fits you. We'll be able to find something that will help you. But whatever it is you're doing, whatever the future it is you want to build, my challenge to you is begin to build your war chest and begin to build it today. Begin to do something right away. because the future belongs to those who take action. The future belongs to those who are moving, who are advancing on their agenda. The future is not for the cowards. It is not for those who are dragging their feet. It's not for those who are waiting for things to align. The future belongs to those who will be able to take action right where they are with whatever they have. And I know that in watching this video up to this particular point, you are serious about your future. And because you're serious about your future, please go ahead and get in touch with us. Let's help you begin to build a war chest that will secure your future goals, your future ambitions, and that will leave you smiling all the way to the bank and enjoying the realization of the things that you had purpose to do. So God bless you. God do you good. See you again next week. Thank you so much.